Okay, ji, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is lecture number 2 of Modern Control Systems, and I'm your presenter Mohammad Rafi Choktai, Assistant Professor UET Lahore. Today we will discuss mathematical modeling of physical systems. Mathematical modeling. Now, first of all, what is this mathematical modeling? We already have a basic introduction of the mathematical modeling, that why we need the mathematical modeling. Basically, in order to analyze the system, in order to study its properties, in order to study its characteristics, in order to evaluate, in order to study its stability, we need to have something in mathematical form so that we apply formulas or existing tools or existing techniques to evaluate the system or to study the system. So, if we say that this is the best thing to describe a system, we wouldn't be wrong. Uh, so, what is basically a mathematical modeling? Normally, we model a system mathematically, which is actually a dynamic system. We normally model dynamic systems. We normally form a mathematical model of dynamic systems. Now, what are dynamic systems? Dynamic systems obviously have rate of change. So the systems which have rate of change are called dynamic systems. You can say, for example, a mass spring system. When a load is applied, mass is extended. This is kind of a dynamic system. We can see multiple dynamic systems around us. So dynamic system, if a system is dynamic, it means it has a rate of change. If a system has a rate of change, then it means it can be represented in the form of differential equation. It can be represented in the form of differential equations. So we do mathematical modeling of dynamic system which have a rate of change and which can be represented in the form of a differential equation. Now, how do we solve a differential equation? There are obviously multiple techniques. One of those techniques is Laplace. We can linearize the differential equation. We can use Laplace. To linearize Laplace transform, you must have studied in your basic mathematics course in this electrical engineering. So once the system is represented in differential equation, we can take its Laplace and form its equation in S domain. Once it is written in the S domain, then we have two options. One option is we can solve it and find it uh, equation in time domain. When we solve this Laplace equation, maybe with the help of partial fractions or any technique that you have studied, then it means that we have transformed your Laplace equation from S domain to time domain. Now this time domain equation that we will get will represent the time response of a system. Or you can say that it can represent the transient response of a system that we studied earlier in our lecture. Transient response or time response of a system. How system will behave in time when some input is applied. How system will behave when certain input will change its equilibrium condition. That is called a time response of a system. So once we have Laplace form of any physical system, we can find its transient response equation, we can find its time domain equation, and we can also go from this Laplace to you can say if we can find the transfer function. We can also use this Laplace transform to find the transfer function of your system. Now, what is the transfer function of the system? Transfer function is basically the relationship between output and input for any given input. For any given input, transfer function is equal to output over input. Transfer function is something which basically defines a system, which basically characterizes the system. We will study in detail how to evaluate, how to find, and what is the use of transfer function in later in this course. But to give you the information why a mathematical model is important and what insight a mathematical model can give to us, we are discussing all of this. Now, if we see that transfer function has two parts, one is numerator and other is denominator. The denominator of the transfer function gives you zeros and numerator of the transfer function gives you poles. Now, what are zeros and what are poles? Again, we will discuss later. But to give you an idea, poles are something from which we can see the stability of the system. At start, I told you that from a mathematical model, we can see that whether the system we have designed is either stable or not. So from here, I have traversed from a simple physical system to a point where we can see how we can find the stability of that system. So from the denominator of this transfer function, we can see the if we can find the roots. How? We can find the poles, sorry. The roots of the denominator gives you the poles of the system. Now, if the poles lie in left half plane, then we can say the system is stable. However, if the poles lie in the right half plane, we say that system is unstable. So we started a physical dynamic system which has a rate of change. We represented that physical system in terms of a differential equation. We solved or linearized that differential equation with the help of Laplace transform, and from Laplace transform we either go to the time domain or we either find the transfer function of the system. What is the transfer? What is the time domain response? Time domain response is the transient response or the response of the system when certain input is given in time. And what is the transfer function? Transfer function is basically defines the basic characteristic of the system. It gives you the relation between input and output of the system, and it helps you to find the stability of a system. So it helps you to find a stability of the system. So this is the benefit of your mathematical modeling. Obviously, there are other benefits of mathematical modeling as well. For example, by mathematical modeling, we can find the state space equations of the systems, which we will study later. In this lecture, we will limit our discussion to finding we will represent the system in differential equation, and then we will see what is the time response of the system. We will skip this Laplace portion and we will skip this all the transfer function portion for the current lecture, and we will see that once a physical system is represented in differential equation, then you can use either way. You can use either Laplace transform or you can use any technique that you have learned in your mathematics course to find the time response of the system. So let's move forward. Uh, Before going towards the actual mathematical model of a system, let's discuss two very basic concepts of through variable and across variables. Through variables versus across variables. Now, you people might have studied in your basic circuit analysis course that we always say, we always pronounce that what is current through a resistor. Yeah, through something. It can be resistor, capacitor, inductor, anything. We have never said what is current across the capacitor. We always say what is voltage across, the resistor, inductor or capacitor, anything. A resistor, inductor or capacitor. So in this discussion, the current is through variable and voltage is across variable. Current through, it means current is not dropped across the resistor. Current before the resistor or current after the resistor. The value of the current before the resistor and the value of current after resistor is same. So current passes through the resistor. However, there is a voltage drop across the resistor or anything, resistor, inductor or capacitor, any circuit element. So if there is a voltage drop, it means we say that it is across variable. So if there is nothing dropped and it smoothly went through the electrical circuit component, then we can say that it is a through variable. So that is why we always say that find the current through the inductor and find the voltage across the inductor, find the current through the resistor and find the voltage across the resistor. This is the reason. When we discuss it in terms of physical system, this was electrical system. Now when we discuss this thing in terms of a physical system, let's suppose we have a disk, a certain disk. This is a disk of mass m mounted on a spring. Let's say this is a massless spring. This is some disk with mass m mounted on a massless spring. Now if we apply torque over here, let's say this is TA applied torque at this point. As this spring is massless, so this torque will be transferred to the disk and the transmitted torque will be Ts. However, just use your intuition and just use your imagination to imagine that you are spinning this spring with your hand and applying a torque at the lower side of the spring. Then just tell me with your imagination that whether the speed of the disk would be same, the velocity of the disk would be same as that of your hand moving on the lower side of the spring. Obviously it will not. Here the velocity by which you are moving the spring, the velocity by which you are rotating the spring will be different from the velocity with which this disk is moving or rotating. Again, I am repeating this. The velocity by which you are rotating the spring from the lower side with your hand would be different from the velocity of this disk rotating. So it means that there is the loss of velocity in this portion of this physical system. However, there is no loss of torque. Torque applied at the lower side of the spring would be same as transmitted to the disk. So in this discussion, your torque applied is through variable and your velocity transferred is across variable. Okay, so just to recap, we have discussed that what is mathematical modeling and how it is helpful to us. We have certain dynamic systems. We know that dynamic systems have a rate of change, and that rate of change can be represented in terms of a differential equation, and that differential equation can be represented in terms of in S domain by Laplace, and from Laplace we can find the time response or time domain. We can convert that S domain equation into a time domain equation with the help of any technique you have studied. Normally by we use partial fractions for this, and we can also use this Laplace equation to find the transfer function of the system, which is actually the output over input. The denominator of the transfer function, the roots of the denominator of the transfer function give you the poles of the system, it which gives you the information that whether the system is stable or not, and is obviously helpful in developing a root locus of a system. Okay. Uh, then we studied about through variables and across variables. Current is through variable, voltage is a cross variable in electrical system, and uh, torque is through variable and velocity is a cross variable in this physical system. Now let's formally move towards the mathematical model. Let's develop a mathematical model of any physical system. Okay. Uh, To proceed with this, let me tell you that when you write an equation for when you write a KCL equation, when you write a KVL equation in your basic circuit analysis course, or when you write a loop equation, when you use nodal analysis, what actually are you doing? You are actually converting your electrical system into a mathematical system. You are converting your electrical system into a mathematical system. What is helping you to develop a mathematical model of your electrical system? Ohm's law. Ohm's law helps you to develop a mathematical model for your electrical system. Let's say you have any electrical system which have a combination of uh, you can say inductor, capacitor, resistor, power supplies, in any combinations they are connected. When you start to write the nodal equation, when you start your nodal analysis or KCL, Kirchhoff current law and Kirchhoff voltage law, what you actually need to write the equation? You need the equations. What equations? You you use V is equal to IR. You use V is equal to L di by dt. You use capacitor volt. These are the equations for capacitor, inductor, volt. This is for inductor, this is for resistor, and same is for capacitor. So these equations basically help you to develop an electrical model, a mathematical model of an electrical system. So by with the help of three basic equations, Ohm's law equations, you are able to write a mathematical equation for your electrical system. Same goes for a physical system. Now if you have a physical system, then obviously you would be needing some kind of equations like this to develop your model. Just to give you a basic intuition, just I'm trying to use your existing knowledge of basic circuit analysis to make you understand what a mathematical model of a physical system looks like. So if you have an electrical system with a resistor, capacitor, inductor, power supplies, and something like this, you use V is equal to IR, inductor equation, capacitor equation, resistor equation to make uh, uh, mathematical to form a mathematical model of your given electrical system. Now, if you have a physical system which is comprised of masses, springs, frictional elements, how can you write a mathematical equation for that physical system? Obviously, first thing now that should come to your mind would be that just as you have an equation Ohm's law for your resistor element, similarly you should have something for your spring as well. You should have something for your frictional element as well. You should have something for your kind of mass element as well. So I am giving you a good news that you have such equations, and by using such equations you can transform your physical system into a mathematical equation. In electrical system, who was helping you? Mr. Ohm. In physical system, who will help you? Mr. Newton. In electrical system, what was helping you? V is equal to IR. In physical system, what will help you? F is equal to ma. How it will help you? So first of all, I would like to write the equations of certain basic elements, just like we have equations or we have formulas for basic circuit elements. Just like that, I will write equations for basic physical elements. For example, if we have a spring, if we have this spring element, a force is applied over here. This is spring with spring coefficient K, and if when we apply this force F of t, it its displacement is, let's say, x of t. So we have a spring element with spring constant K, and we have applied a force on that spring, and its displacement is x of t. Now its force velocity relation given by Newton is actually F of t is equal to K, which is the spring constant, integration from 0 to t, just like we have capacitor, inductor and resistor formulas. V of tau d tau. This is the force velocity relation. And what if we want force and distance relation? Force distance relation would be F of t, or displacement would be equal to K x of t. This was for spring. Now if we have a frictional element, let's say if we have a frictional element, let me draw a frictional element, this, and we apply a force F of t to this frictional element, and as a result of this F of t, it has a displacement x of t, and this frictional element has a frictional constant b. Then its force velocity equation would be F of t is equal to b v of t, and its force distance relation, as you can see by symmetry, would be is equal to F of t is equal to b dx of t over dt. In writing a mathematical equation, you can either use force-velocity relation or force-distance relation. This is up to you. Now the third element that we will discuss is a mass. Mass m. Force applied at mass m is F of t, and as a result of this force, its displacement is x of t. Then its force and velocity relation is actually F of t is equal to m d v of t over dt. By the way, what is this? Just look at this and tell me what is this, or you can imagine what is this. What does this denote? Does it feel like F is equal to ma? Yes, it does. And its force distance relation would be F of t is equal to m d square x of d square d square x of t over dt. So these are the basic formulas that you must have before writing a mathematical model of any physical system. And if you notice, these are not hard to remember. This is just a form of F is equal to ma, and they have their symmetry. It is dv over dt, it is v of t, and this is integration. If you see, they follow a symmetry. X of t, dx over dt, d square x over dt square. So if you remember any one of this, like this F is equal to ma, you can write all of these with the help of only one equation, F is equal to ma. So these are the basic equations that you should know before writing or before moving towards the mathematical model of your system. So let's write a mathematical model of electrical and physical systems side by side so that you are able to visualize what is the basic difference amongst these two. So for your understanding, I would like to draw side by side two systems. One is a physical system. Let's suppose it is uh, this physical system is this. It is a resistor. Here we have a resistor, inductor, and a capacitor, a simple RLC circuit. I have drawn a simple RLC circuit, and here we have a voltage source and with current R of t. Okay, and let's have a physical system over here. I am trying to draw a physical system. Let's say this is some kind of support or wall. We have a spring with a spring constant K and a mass attached to that spring. Mass m is attached to this spring. This mass, a force R of t is pulling this mass downwards. Now we will try to write a mathematical model or mathematical equation for this physical system on left hand side, and we will try to write a mathematical model of this or mathematical equation of this electrical equation on the right hand side. Now before moving exactly towards the mathematical equation, first we will see how many forces are being applied on this mass. One is force R of t, which is applied in a downward direction. There is another force due to frictional element which is being applied in the upward direction. As you are pulling the mass downwards, obviously we have friction on the walls of this assembly. So this friction will resist downward motion. So we can say that frictional direction of frictional force is upward. And similarly, we have another force acting upon this mass, which is actually a spring, the force due to spring. Now the what would be the direction of force due to spring? I would suggest you should pause this video and just ask yourself what would be the direction of the force acting upon this mass due to spring. So the direction of the force acting upon this mass due to spring would be upward. So after imagining the forces acting upon this system, acting upon this mass, let's formally write a mathematical model of this system. To write a mathematical model of the system, I will first write the equation of Newton, which is F is equal to ma, where F is the combination of all the forces acting upon that mass, and m is the mass and a is the acceleration. So let's expand this equation. What are the forces? First force that is acting upon the mass is r of t. Okay, the first force that is acting upon is r of t, which is in downward direction. Second force that is acting upon this mass is due to friction, which is, if I write it in the form of, if I write it using the force and distance relation, then I can write it like b dx of t over dt. If the displacement, I denote the displacement with x of t. So force due to the frictional element is b dx of t over dt, and that b dx of t over dt factor is, okay, now it has just disappeared. Okay, this dx of t over dt is, I have write it from here, b dx of t over dt. I have written this b dx of t over dt from this. Okay, now let's go back. I'm starting over with this mass. There were three forces. One was r of t acting downward, and there were two forces due to spring and due to frictional element. We were writing the equation. um, we were writing the equation like this: F is equal to ma, where F was the sum of all the forces. M is the, obviously m is the mass, a is the acceleration, r of t, and the force due to uh, frictional element was B dx of t over dt. Similarly, from table from the last page, we can write the force due to spring element. The force due to spring element would be K, which is the spring constant, x of t. You can refer to the table on the previous page, on the previous part of this lecture. So these are the three forces. R of t is positive. If we take, now we can take the signs as we like. If we take R of t positive, then we have to take this B dx over dt negative and kx of t negative, because these two are acting in the opposite direction, is equal to ma. Ma, what is a? D square x of t over dt. So if we rearrange this equation, we can see that we have actually m d square x of t over dt plus b dx of t over dt plus k x of t is equal to r of t, where r of t is the force applied. So if we see, this is actually a second order differential equation. We started with a mass spring system. Where a mass was attached to a spring. With frictional constant K, and we applied the force R of t downwards on that mass. So when we applied the force, there was a frictional element, there was a frictional factor of friction with the walls of this assembly, and obviously that friction would resist this downward motion due to R of t. So we took this uh, force due to frictional element in upward direction, and obviously spring will also resist or will produce a force in opposite direction to this R of t. So writing these, referring to the previous discussion of basic equations for spring, for friction, and for mass, we can write this equation. And from this equation, after rearranging this equation, we came across this uh, formal second order differential equation. So we went from this physical system to this second order differential equation using the table we devised earlier, or using, or with the help of, we can say with the help of Newton's law, with the help of F is equal to ma. Ohm's law was our savior in electrical systems, whereas in physical system, Newton actually helps us to form a mathematical system, to form a mathematical equation of our system. So now if we directly solve this second order differential equation by whatever means we have, by using Laplace or either any technique of solving a second order differential equation, then we can write y of t, or sorry, we can write x of t is equal to k1 is some constant e raised to the power minus alpha t sine beta 1 t plus theta 1. I will not go into the detail of how this equation is being evaluated. It's just the solution of this second order differential equation. Obviously we will see in detail what are the components of this time response, what this time response actually it will tell you about the zero, if you have a zero input response or zero state response. This time response will tell you what a zero input response look like or what a zero state response will look like. That is our discussion of coming lectures. But to give you importance of this time response, what is zero input response? If your input is zero and your system is totally derived with the help of initial conditions. And what is zero state response? That your system initial conditions of your system is actually zero, and your system is derived totally through your inputs. So this zero input response and zero state response combined give you the total overall time response of a system. So this time response equation that we have evaluated for this mass spinning system is, you can say, you can make a concept about it, that it is actually a combination of zero input response and zero state response of this physical system. Now, what is zero input response and what is zero state response, we will obviously discuss in detail in our coming lectures. But to give you a basic idea, you should have an idea that this time response equation is beneficial whenever this time response equation is actually a combination of zero input response and zero state response, and it can be calculated with the help of by solving a second order differential equation which you have written using uh, Newton's law of F is equal to ma. So we started with the physical system and we have reached a mathematical equation of this physical system. Now you can use the Laplace to linearize this equation, and once you have Laplace, you can obviously write this equation in terms of output over input. Here we have output r of t, sorry, input is r of t, which is the force that you are applying, and output is x of t, that is the distance. So the input you are applying and distance it is covering. Input is r of t, the force, and the output is the distance it is covering. So when you apply the transform, you can obviously you can easily write it in the form of output over input. You can easily write it in the form of x of s, which is output, over r of s, which is input. So this equation of x of s over r of s will give you a transfer function when you will convert it in Laplace. We will convert these kinds of differential equation in Laplace in our coming lectures, but you should know what you are going to learn, why this thing that we are discussing is important and where it is going to. So, and obviously this RFS is of critical importance because it will actually give you, its root will give you uh, the root of this transfer function will give you the pole location. So this was the mathematical model of your physical system, mass spring system. Now I drew a electrical system. Let's see, this is an electrical system R, and this is L, and this is C. RLC, this is a voltage source, and the current is R of T. Okay, current is R of T. Now I think there is no need to go through all the procedures. Just we can write the, by using Kirchhoff current law, we can write R of T, which is the input current, is equal to V of T over R. Yeah, you can write V over R, V of T over R plus C dV of T over dt, that is the current through capacitor. This is current through resistor, this is current through capacitor, and 1 over L integration from 0 to T Vt dt. This is the current through resistor, this is the current through capacitor, and this is the current through inductor. Now, if we write this equation in terms of velocity, at the moment we have written this equation with the help of by using the force distance relation. But if we write the same equation using force velocity relation of the previous table, which are actually these relation, at the moment our equation is made using this B equations. Now if we write the same equation using these three, 1, 2, 3, using these three equations, then our this equation can be written like this: m dv over dt plus bv of t plus k integration 0 to t v of t dt is equal to r of t. So this factor m d square x of t over dt is written as m dv over dt. X was distance and v is your velocity. B dx of t over dt can be written as bv of t. Kx of t can be written as k integration v of t dt, and r of t is r of t. So now just visualize what actually is happening. Compare this equation with this equation. If we compare these two terms, this term and this term, this is v of t into some constant b, and this is v of t into some constant 1 over r. And if we compare this with this is dv over dt with some constant c, and this is dv over dt with some constant m. And if we compare this with this is integration of v of t with some constant k, and this is integration of v of t with some constant 1 over l. So you can see that there is an extreme resemblance of mathematical equations between this physical system and this electrical system. The equations for both physical system and electrical system that we have written totally independently have almost same shape. So what does it mean? It means that these two systems are analogous systems. This knowledge is vital importance towards the advancement in study of a physical system. It means, what does it actually mean? Just visualize. You can transform any physical system into an electrical equivalent system. You can transform any physical thing into its electrical form and you can use that. If there is a big physical system in front of you, you can move a physical system into an electric chip. If there is a big physical system that occupies a large space, that physical system can be transformed into a small electrical chip, which will give you exactly same characteristics, exactly same features. So this observation, that is why I have put it this electrical system and this physical system side by side, so that you can visualize. The size of this electrical system obviously would be large. It includes a mass, it includes an assembly, it includes a spring. However, the electrical system can be this RLC circuit occupies almost negligible space when compared to this physical system. Now, when there is a need of this huge physical system, you can achieve or you can have the same results using this electrical system rather than using this complete physical assembly. So why that is why we are moving towards smaller equipments. The science, the technology is moving towards the compact solutions because uh, we have a procedure by which we can equate any physical system to any electrical system, and we can convert this physical system into an electrical chip, and these both systems are can be called as analogous systems. So so we can say that a physical system can have its can have its analogous electrical system. So these two systems are actually equivalent systems. Similarly, this was about the systems. Similarly, if we say here in physical system, the role that was being played by velocity, in physical system that similar role is being played by your voltage. Here we have velocity, and in upper system we have voltage. So therefore we can say that voltage and velocity, these two are analogous variables or equivalent variables, equivalent or analogous variables, voltage and velocity. Similarly, force, sorry, current is analogous to force. So force and current are equivalent or analogous variables. Similarly, voltage and velocity are equivalent or analogous variables. So the role that is played by velocity, that is played by voltage in your electrical system, the same role is being played by velocity in your physical systems. And the role that is being placed by that is being played by current in your electrical system, the same role is being played by your force in your physical systems. So now you are ready to transform any physical system into its mathematical equation. We have seen, if we recap this lecture, first we saw that why what is mathematical modeling, why it is important, what are dynamic systems, um how we achieve the mathematical modeling of a system. Dynamic system have rate of change. It means that can be represented in differential equations. We can write the Laplace of differential equation from Laplace time domain transfer function. We can also write the state space equations of a system that we will write in our coming lectures. Then we discuss the through variables and the cross variables. Current is through variable, voltage is a cross variables, and we draw a disk over here that is somehow being disappeared. So we draw a disk over here, we applied a torque over here, T applied, and the disk moved, and the torque was transferred to the disk TS. So TS was equal to T applied. However, the velocity by which we moved this spring from the bottom was not equal to the velocity of this disk. So velocity we discussed is actually a cross variable, and torque we discussed was actually through through variable. So after that we discussed that to form a mathematical model of a physical system, we need something just like we need Ohm's law for electrical systems. So we saw that Newton came to our rescue, and Newton gave us few equations which actually help us to form a mathematical equation for our physical systems. So using these mathematical equations, we wrote uh, equation for our physical system, for our mass spring system, and similarly we wrote an equation for an electrical system as well. So when we placed the mathematical equation of this electrical system and this physical system side by side, we notice that they are almost same. The role which is being played by the voltage in our electrical system is same as the role that is being played by the velocity in our physical systems. So we can say that these both systems are equivalent or analogous systems. From this physical system, we can move to this electrical system, or the application where this physical system is required, the same that application, that the purpose for which this physical system is required, same purpose can be fulfilled by using this electrical system. So despite of being going with a big assembly, despite of being going with a large huge system, we can use a compact electrical equivalent system uh, to achieve the same results. So these two systems are analogous or equivalent systems. Similarly, we say that as the role being played by velocity and voltages are same, so velocity and voltage are analogous variables. These were system, this is variable obviously, and similarly current and force is and current and force are were analogous variables. So from this we have concluded our discussion of mathematical modeling of a system. In next lecture we will see the linear approximation of a physical system. We will see how a system which is non-linear can be linearized. uh, Obviously, I believe that from the knowledge of your signal and systems, you know what is linear and non-linear systems. However, we will briefly discuss. We will briefly discuss what is a linear and what is a linear and what is a non-linear system. Linear versus non-linear systems. Again, if you have any questions about this lecture, you can either email me, you can either write to me at, you can email me at rafe dot chugtai at the rate of uit dot edu dot pk, or we can have a live discussion over our Microsoft Teams group that we already have. Okay ji, thank you very much. See you in the next lecture, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.